Today on Vox, we have information on American Idol, the Jacksonville shooting, and more. Lane Webb will have your local weather, and Jay Standridge will have your sports.
It's Tuesday, August 28th, 2018, and you're watching Vox News Today.
Please stand for the pledge of the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon and welcome back. I'm Mary Beth Mangrum.
And I'm Taylor Lawson.
For the first time, American Idol will be paying a visit to the scenic city to see who in town has what it takes to be the next season's big winner. The American Idol website says the American Idol audition bus is in Chattanooga today from 5 a.m. until 5 p.m. It is the third stop on a nationwide tour. You can audition online and in person or both. The Chattanooga area has produced several Idol contestants who have advanced far, most notably Lauren Alana of Rossville, who auditioned in Atlanta for season 10. She won runner-up that year, but it was enough to propel her to country music stardom. She was a headlining performer at Riverband in 2012. Here's the full auditions tour schedule. If you live in the Scottsdale, Arizona area, you can audition on August 28th. Charlotte, North Carolina is August 31st, and Albuquerque, New Mexico is also August 31st. So do you think you have what it takes? BCHS senior vocalist in rock band and Vocal Motion does, and she is there today to audition. We wish you the best of luck, Maddie.
One survivor of the Jacksonville mass shooting is speaking out, and as Bridget Matter reports, he wants the focus to shift off of the suspected shooter and onto the victims who he considered his friends.
A mass shooting on Jacksonville's skyline. It's left the city pained with the question of why. Survivors like Chris McFarland, who was grazed in the head, woke up this morning reliving yesterday's nightmare.
I'm trying to erase from my memory, but I never will. Seeing somebody that was just smiling as your friend and then you see him dead in a chair.
The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office has not established a motive, but do know the shooter purchased 2 handguns in the last month in Maryland from a licensed dealer. He also brought ammunition with him.
The suspect clearly targeted other gamers who were in the back room of Chicago Pizza participating in this gaming tournament. The suspect walked past patrons who were in other parts of the business and focused his attention on the gamers.
Investigators have searched the gunman's hotel room and car, but will not release details on items recovered. For McFarland, he wants people to remember his 2 friends and not the tragic way they died.
For me personally, the shooter, it shouldn't be a story. I feel like there's 2 guys, 2 of my friends that lost their lives, and I feel like every time I turn on the news, I see a picture of the shooter.
Two people lost their lives in the shooting, including Katz, who shot himself. Several others were injured.
Taylor Robertson, a 27-year-old from Giles, West Virginia, was remembered Monday evening at a candlelight vigil in Linside. Robertson was killed by a gunman in Jacksonville, Florida at a Madden NFL 19 qualifier event. Casey Gentile reports.
It's going to hurt for a long, long time. We're all going to feel it for a long, long time.
With heavy hearts, family members, friends, and community members lit a candle and stood in silence to carry on the memory of Taylor Robertson. Many say he will be remembered as an all-star athlete, a straight-A student, but most of all, a loving friend.
He was the most humble human being to have the ability and the talents that he did that I've ever known, really.
Robertson graduated in the class of 2009. He went on to college, earned his degree, and worked at a bank. In his free time, he played in Madden football video game tournaments. But nobody ever thought that playing video games would be the end to Robertson's life.
You don't think things like this can happen to people like Taylor Robertson. Growing up, Taylor Robertson was a couple years older than me, and you just think, growing up, he's a superhero. He's invincible. Things like this don't happen to people like that.
From high school nicknames,
the Taylor Robertson. That's what the phrase was in high school. The Taylor Robertson.
to becoming a husband and father, the legacy of Taylor Robertson will live in Monroe County forever. Reporting in Monroe County, Casey Gentile, 59 News.
A case gone cold has finally been solved. Last seen on February 12th of 1979, then teenage Dennis Greer has finally been found. After running away from his Michigan home, Greer's remains were found buried in Georgia after he was hit by a semi-truck just 2 days after his disappearance. James Bowman, Greer's half-brother, has spoken on the case, calling it a bittersweet ending. He says that the family wanted him found alive, of course, but he is happy that he's been found.
North Korea is warning the U.S. it will resume nuclear and missile activities without a firm commitment to peace. Sources tell us that a letter sent from North Korea to the U.S. Secretary of State warns the entire denuclearization process is again at stake and may fall apart.
Now let's send over to Lane with your weather report.
We'll have your weather radar and more after this break. Welcome back. Things are really heating up for California's climate. That's according to a new report released by UC Davis and the state of California. Among the findings, the Sacramento Valley will see daily max temperatures increased by 10 degrees by the end of the century. Mike Lurie reports.
Is Sacramento the city of trees that we know and love, soon to be replaced by a desert landscape that resembles Phoenix, Arizona? That's what UC Davis researcher Ben Holton is projecting.
Climate impacts are here. They were knocking on our door, and now they're in our living room.
Holton authored a new report on climate change just published today by the state. And in the Sacramento Valley, Holton projects daily temperatures here will increase by 10 degrees over the next 80 years, with extreme heat days of 104 degrees or higher climbing from an average of 4 times a year to 40 times a year by 2100, sparking even more wildfires.
Based on the current model projections, we're estimating that maybe a 300% increase in wildfire in the next 30 to 50 years.
Wildfires have now become a year-round phenomenon, according to CAL FIRE.
With all that's happening around us.
And today at this climate summit in downtown Sacramento, state agency leaders addressed how California is fighting back against the increased risk of wildfires through more controlled burns.
We're doubling the number of acres we're treating. We're adding 6 fire units to deal with prescribed fire. We're giving out grants to locals to try to deal with fire preparation.
California is also looking to reduce the number of dead trees, now estimated to be some 127 million. But while the new report does offer solutions, it's also generating some skepticism. Anthony Watts, a former TV meteorologist, told us by Skype he's not buying the doom and gloom projections of climate change.
A lot of that had to do with infrastructure, and it had to do with the way that heat is retained in cities and so forth. So just looking at the temperature isn't necessarily a perfect indicator of what we're going to be seeing in the future.
Thanks, Mike. Now let's take a look at our local radar. As you can see in the Cleveland area, once again, we have no weather going on as far as rain or anything like that. We're very dormant once again, and it's very good. It's very peaceful. Now let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. For Tuesday and Wednesday, it's going to be partly cloudy with a 20% chance of rain and a high of 90 and 89 and a low of 70. Thursday all the way to Sunday, we'll have a nice chance of rain with 60, 40, and 50% chances of rain, and highs in the 80s and a low of 68. And Monday will be partly cloudy with a 20% chance of rain and a high of 90 and a low of 68. That's all for weather. Now let's send it over to Jace with the sports.
After this break, we'll take a look at Brett's Braves report. Welcome back. Now let's send it over to Brett Whitehead.
Hey, good morning, Bradley Central. Here's the games for the Braves report for tonight. Julio Teheran is going to take the ball for Atlanta. No, the Rays are taking. Julio Teheran is taking the ball for Atlanta. Spanik is going to take the ball for the Rays. And that game is at 7:35 tonight at SunTrust Park. This is Brett Whitehead with your Braves report. I'll send it back over to Chase.
Thanks, Brett. Getting into our sports. The biggest internet event in history took place last Saturday. 4 of some of YouTube's biggest stars had a big boxing match. And Deji was a huge underdog versus Jake Paul. He was projected to get knocked out before the 3rd round, but he gave a ton of heart lasting to the 5th round to lose by TKO. The main event, Logan Paul vs. KSI, was very close going into it. Logan had the weight and height advantage, while KSI had experience. It went to a judge's decision and ended in a draw after more than 6 months of hype. And that's all for me. After this break, we'll take a look at your school announcements.
You can be the greatest, you can be the best. You can be the king come banging on your chest. You can beat the world, you can beat the war. You could talk to God, go banging on his door. You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock. You can move a mountain, you can break rocks. You can be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you can find yourself. Standing in the Hall of Fame.
Welcome back, Bradley Central. Let's take a look at our school announcements. Senior picture retakes will be next Friday, August 31st during 1st and 2nd period.
The ACT retake for seniors is on October 2nd, so if you haven't taken it, this is a free opportunity. Remember, taking the ACT is a graduation requirement. You can see your advisory teacher to sign up.
The grand opening of Joe Bear is today, August 28th. The first 100 customers will receive a glazed donut with the purchase of a beverage, but there's a catch. You must have your ID. We are online on YouTube at BCHS VOX News.
You can also check us out on Facebook, SchoolTube, and of course, VoxNews.net.
You just can't get enough of Vox.
That's all we have for you today, Bradley Central.
And as always, God bless and go Bears.